Hello, welcome to a very important video. This video is actually going to go into the depth of what the value 666 means as it pertains to biblical information. So, to begin things off, I'm going to take us to the book of Revelation as a recap to what was said pertaining to 666 in the Bible. Revelation 13 verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. A score comes to be the value of 20, so 3 score would be 60, making it 660 and 6. Now, there are some things that should pique your interest about that scripture. Here is wisdom being one part to it, to count the number of the beast being another part, and it is the number of a man. Now, many people have taken gematria to the front to calculate this, but gematria is a fallible creation. It was created with preset numbers in line. It's why it tends to continue on with not much backbone every time an accusation is made using gematria. Rather, we should turn to scripture to calculate the number of this beast. There's only one other instance in the Bible where 666 is mentioned, and it is in concordance to Solomon, which was a perfect example of perdition. Which is a point that I would like you to keep in mind. So here that is, which this is the only part, but it's also mentioned in the Book of Chronicles, but they relate to the same thing. 1 Kings 10 verse 14. The weight of gold that Solomon received yearly was 666 talents. There's 3 parts to that scripture that are very important. The weight of gold receiving yearly and 666 talents. So let us begin some discernment here, in which I have a chart as well to show comparisons. So turn us to 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3 and 9. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. Don't let the even him part confuse you, as this is just an exposition used at the time, which is obviously still valid today, just not really used. This type of exposition used to describe a singular being has also been used specifically in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verses 20. We know through scripture that there's only 2 major end times antagonists, which is the beast and the false prophet. There's no proof of a third major figure, rather only dealt implications at the fact that no one has intrinsically said anything otherwise, but the fact of the matter is, if you know by faith, you realize that the fact that 2 are mentioned, it's like it blocks the idea of a third. It's kind of like 1 in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. And well, as well as a good fact, a good point that you guys can use to discern people who try to challenge you at this is turn to the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verses 20, and compare it through the chapter about how they used even him as an exposition to describe a singular being. So, some important things to take out of 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3 and 9 are the man of sin and the son of perdition, and coming in the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Let's get something straight now, though. The beast and the false prophet aren't coming with words. They're coming with the ability to manifest miracles, Satan's creation magic. Now, I'm going to turn this to Revelation 19, verse 20 to back up my point. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image. These both were cast into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone. Revelation 13, verse 11 to 14. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do it in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. Remember, in verse 14, it explicitly points out the fact that these men can manifest miracles. So now let us look at the comparisons. And for those of you that don't know Solomon's story, he was the son of King David that inherited God's wisdom through humility and ended up in perdition due to a lack of patience, amongst other things. So let's start by breaking some scriptures apart and picking some key notes from them, the intrinsic of the script. So we know that the beast is the man of sin, son of perdition, coming in the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. Let your mind's eye really perceive a man like that. Try to understand, how is a man who's still technically in the flesh body of a man able to work such an idea? He must be some sort of special idea of himself. You'll see that this man, he will have the ability to understand demonic devices and depths and understand how to manifest miracles using reverse psychology. A pseudo-spirit, if you will. A man-spirit, nonetheless, but he's a man entranced by a god, a pseudo-god, per se. This man will have 42 months to perform these evil doings too. This is not some one-year thing. This will be a 3.5 years of him tribulating the world with murder. We know this through Revelation 13 verse 5, and in the same chapter you can find other stuff about him. We're very well informed ahead of time that people will be beheaded if they don't bow down before the beast, that you can't buy, you can't sell if you don't receive the mark of the beast. We know he has 42 months. That's 3.5 years that this is going to go on. That's a lot of seasons of change we're talking about. That's a lot of summers, a lot of winter. Now let's move on to the point of Solomon and how this compares to what the value of 666. So Solomon was a man who inherited God's wisdom through humility, which compared to the beast inheriting Satan's power through pride. This man will willingly allow Satan to teach him. Solomon was a man who went into perdition, and as so the beast is called the son of perdition. Remember, the reason I'm comparing Solomon to the beast, because it mentions 666 about Solomon, and in so much there's so much relativeness at the participle level between the beast and Solomon. Solomon was a man of sin too, considering his betrayal of the covenant of God when he turned to idolatry in Israel. Satan touched Solomon's heart undoubtedly, considering the value of God's powerful wisdom. Solomon received 666 shekels of gold per year, which can be looked at different considering the state of the world. This man must be a pretty wealthy man. He's going to be an underground man. He's in the world's elite for sure. They remain in the shadows, although, and that's kind of something that us as society can see, that is that we don't really know what the Rothschilds do behind people's backs, the Rockefellers, the really rich families that run the system of the world. But mainly the fact is that the beast is said to be the number of a man. The only man comparable in so many ways to the beast under the idea of 666 would be Solomon. Now, another thing I want to get into, the image of the beast is actually, understanding a good point to the point of what the scripture meant by saying that he received gold yearly at the amount of 666 talents. We should turn to, if you were to turn to the Dream of Nebuchadnezzar, you see the statue had a golden head. Okay, so we know the beast is coming with the power of Satan. He has to use his mind to be able to do this. Solomon received 666 talents of gold per year. Okay, the beast and Solomon are comparable because they're both sons of perdition. Their minds were minds of gold, technically, because Solomon had God's wisdom, and the beast is coming with Satan's wisdom. It's a very, if you look at it, if you study the scripture point by point and see the major points that set these things in value of themselves around other things, you'll see how they manifest around each other to point out the same relativeness at point. So I really encourage you guys to watch my other videos about the rapture, and really all my other videos. They're prophetical information passed down through years to me, and they'll bless you all completely if you just pay attention to them. Amen.